Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
At Sierra, discover joyous deals on great gifts for everyone on your list. Like cozy slippers, ski gear, fishing poles, bikes, large kayaks, even larger canoes. Whew, which might lead to another discovery. Wrapping gifts is the only sport you need to stay fit this season. 'Tis the season to discover great gifts at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello everybody and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett and with me this week, I don't have Dr. Barts, I'm afraid. I think he might be surfing somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, but I do have the other two members of the A-team. I've got Mr. Simon Brundish. Evening, Si.
Evening, Darth. Life is good. 2 cracking wins this week.
2 amazing, three home wins in a week. Well, what a week it's been at Anfield.
Top of all the leagues.
Top of all the leagues, fantastic. And I've also got the boy wonder broadcasting not from the Times offices today, but from home. It might be on a well-earned week off. It's Hamzah Khalid Luna, it seems. Evening, Hamzah.
Evening, yeah. International break, and I'm not working this week on the international, so I get to enjoy these wins. And I hope everyone at home or wherever you're listening are also enjoying these wins and being top of all the time.
Excellent. Yes. Right, and we've got such a busy show to get through here. We've got to talk about Liverpool 4 by Leverkusen 0, and then Liverpool 2 Aston Villa 0. But we're going to start with Leverkusen. Si, I said on Twitter that some Liverpool managers wait years for a signature performance, and some LFC managers never get one at all. Arne Slot's took 16 games. It's quite something.
Yeah, I think it probably. What would you say was the Klopp signature performance? In my
Leicester 4-0.
My mind's eye. Okay. No, I think that's different. I don't think this is his signature of his career at Liverpool, but I think this is his coming out performance. I think this is what Arne Slot's football can do. And I would compare that to Man City away.
For the 4-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like Klopp's second game, wasn't it?
It was away at City, away at Chelsea. We should have won both. We ended up not beating Chelsea, but I thought that was the game.
Okay, yeah, that was Klopp's second game, I think, wasn't it? The City 4-1.
No,
it was really early into his tenure, wasn't it?
I think it was no. I don't think it was that close. I think it was like
okay.
Let me look it up because I have them all. But no, I thought that was like a similar time period.
Yeah, and also before the 4-0 against Leicester was the 3-0 in the European Cup against Man City as well in the first leg.
Yeah. That was a big deal as well.
Hamzah, signature Klopp performance?
What makes a signature performance?
It's just everything. It's just a big statement and a big win in a big game, but also the quality of the performance and the dominance.
I think I'd maintain that the best quality performance I saw was when we lost 2-1 against City. Just I thought that was an amazing game. But I think maybe the 4-0 where Emre Can scored that goal at the end, the This Is Football goal. Was that against?
Oh, that was in the Champions League qualifier.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think that sort of really distilled the essence of what to expect from Klopp and set the tone. I think that one really springs to mind.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have an answer for us? How early was?
That game was the one you say was game 5. So you're right. That was early on. That 4-1, but it's not the game I was thinking about.
Okay, which one were you thinking about?
It was later on, and it was the Emre Can back heel to Bobby.
The 4-3?
Yeah.
Okay, that was 17-18, wasn't it? That one, yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm probably confusing these because I'm a dumb old. But it was either way. It was. I thought it was a really big win. I thought it probably wasn't talked about in the way that it should have been because Leverkusen aren't as saucy in the media as they were this time last season. But if you put it in the context of everybody wanted Xabi. Xabi's a Liverpool legend. Everybody wanted Xabi. He, both for the romance of it being Xabi, but also what he achieved last season and the style of how they played and how dominant they were. And facing that and tactically dominating.
Yeah.
Like we put on a show. Tactically, we put on a show. And then our finishing put on a show. So,
as you always like to say, we played the game that we wanted to play, and we forced them to play the game that they didn't want to play.
Exactly. We totally dominated space, and we dominated where they had control.
Yeah.
And I thought we were really, really good in the first half. The crowd, though, it was kind of loud, which was great, but there was also a feeling of this is a bit boring.
Yeah.
And I thought we were doing brilliantly at that point.
Yeah.
I had every faith that we were just going to cut them open and get 2 or 3. I didn't expect what we ended up with, but it felt like that to me because we were causing them problems and in a structural way. And controlling the tempo, controlling the jeopardy. And so I thought we were fantastic.
Hamzah, what did you think about even before the ball was kicked? You felt like Slot had one up on Xabi because Xabi changed his default. He basically played an extra midfielder and sacrificed the forward and moved his centre forward. It was quite a statement for us, isn't it? That.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair way to see it. In that opposition teams are coming up against how can we surprise them? How can we do something different? See, Victor Boniface was playing on the left. They tried to overload the midfield, which would then make them a bit sort of harder to press because they'd have a spare man deep. And when you think about it as well, like if you've got a strong player like Boniface, but you're up against Coote and Van Dijk, you're thinking, okay, if we were to go long, we're not at... Whereas usually we might expect to win more of those situations because it's that particular pairing at the back. You think, actually, I wouldn't like to go as much as... I wouldn't like to use that option that often because we'd probably lose it. So then how can you use it in a different way? How can you react? So then you're thinking about, okay, can we move into the left? Can we make sure that we're actually going to play through the press or give them problems, give Liverpool problems with the press? I think that's a matter of how Liverpool play and the player profile, specifically those two guys at the back. So it's a tip of the hat to how Liverpool playing and the squad. Yeah,
and I think one more consequence of what Xabi did was, and this comes through really well in the passing networks on Dr. Barts' stats pack, is that first half they got nothing. They got nothing past the centre circle because they haven't got a focal point.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, there's one particular quirk with the stats I'm just going to get up that I thought was interesting. I mean, so like in the first half they had a majority of possession, so 56.2%.
Yeah.
And I don't know how often you would see this. I wager it's not too often, but you probably will. I think you will know better than me in that So despite them having 56.2% possession, they only had 40.5% field tilt. And you'd expect usually if you've got more possession, you'd have more field tilt. Field tilt,
yeah, exactly.
The share of touches that you have.
I would say that is very unusual, in fact.
Yeah, so I just found that particularly weird and an interesting quirk and a demonstration of how the tactics were a bit surprising in the first half. And it may not have been super exciting, I think, in terms of shots. Actually, Liverpool they had 5 shots, Liverpool had 9, but really turned it on in the second half. But in terms of EPV, it was just 0.9 for Leverkusen and 0.75 for Liverpool. So yeah, you'd expect, given they had more possession, to have more EPV. But also, like I said, there's that weird thing with the field tilt there. So yeah.
As Si would have called it in the past on other pods, possession without penetration.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, the other thing as well is the shots from outside the box. So like I said, there were 14 shots in the first half, but 7 across both teams, but 7 were outside the box, and 4 of Leverkusen's 5 shots were also outside the box as well. So that speaks to that exactly. They've got the ball, they're not able to actually develop it into final third possession sequences, which they like to do as a possession-dominant team. And there's a team that uses rotations really well in the final third and inside the box, and instead they're limited to shots from outside, from distance. I mean, the total of those shots was 0.16, so divide that by 5, and it's really low.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
At the Home Depot, the holidays have arrived.
And so is all my family. So I'm working on keeping up with the laundry.
The Home Depot is here to help with Black Friday savings up to 40% off select appliances. Spend less time doing laundry with smart, efficient appliances from Samsung. Ranked #1 in customer satisfaction.
Perfect. Less laundry time means more family time.
Get Black Friday savings now with free delivery and financing on select appliances at the Home Depot. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details. Offer valid November 6th through December 4th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Yeah, it's really low. Goodness me. They get about 30 shots of that value and probably still not scored. Anyway, Liverpool 3 rotations, I think it was, for Leverkusen. 4 and 2 for Villa. So we got into a pattern of, obviously either side of the Carabao game is different, but 3 to 4 rotations per game. So
my bad. It was 1 rotation for Leverkusen.
2 for Villa.
Yeah, just Diaz came in for Darwin.
So how do you think we've done? We talked about it in the last international break. How do you think we've managed to execute the strategic rotation across this block?
We've rotated way less than you would expect given numbers. So this period, if you include the Carabao, we average 4 changes per game. But if you take Carabao out, we average 2 changes per game, which is really not an awful lot. We've had a couple of changes in Trent. So we had Conor Bradley got injured for a little bit. So there's no chance of him coming on for Trent there. We had at the beginning of this block, weirdly, this is when Diogo got injured during this block.
Yeah,
first
during
game
Chelsea.
So he would have changed the strategy that we'd laid out, and then there was no Chiesa, which is a big deal as well. I'm not entirely sure that's what they expected, coming from an international break to catch up fitness. But what we did have was a nice rotation, solid rotation of 4 midfielders. CJ came in, having started to be dripped into the team in the previous block. So the previous block, he had 270 minutes, and comparatively, Zobo had 480. Grav is a killer right now, 586, and Mac had 528. So he was the fourth in that rotation. But relative to Mac, to Grav this time, who played full games in all but the Caribou. So 6 of the 7 games in this period in 21 days, which is incredible workload, and he is currently on target 2.6 times his career max.
Isn't he on track for 6,000 minutes plus season?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not sustainable, is it?
Yeah. So it's
how many players play 6K minute seasons?
Virgil van Dijk, Alisson.
Not many.
Once each.
Yeah.
And never a midfielder.
Yeah.
And so this block, he played a solid 600 minutes of football, which is tremendous. And hopefully he doesn't play much for Holland, but I'm fairly sure he's going to. But the progress this time was that Curtis jumped up by 200 minutes, so 470. Zobo dropped down a little bit, 454, so just slightly less, and Mac's there at 460. So I actually think that's a nice even distribution between those three. There was only one game when any of them got red. Managing that for this period is really, really smart.
We've even seen an uptick in Endo's usage in the midfield.
Kind of. He played in the EFL.
And a couple of sub-appearances in the Premier League.
3 sub-appearances, yeah. He came on 3 times for a grand total of 30 minutes in 3 games. So he has played 96 minutes in that period, including 66 in the Caribou. So just to highlight the change in Robbo and Simi, they played pretty much. They interchanged how much they were going to play. Simi took Robbo's starts twice, which is the first time out of choice since both of them were at the club. And I would like to say the strategic rotation through one block was brilliant. My only concern with all of this is the incremental loading factor. So the trajectory of their weekly minutes projects that they're all going to finish with massive numbers at the end of the season, which is really highly unlikely. The probability of them not breaking, you are demanding that their body sustains massive jumps in playing load. Yeah. So that we're managing to mitigate their chronic acute workload is brilliant. So there's no spikes. So you're giving them the best chance to be playing each week and fresh, but you're really demanding this massive volume of games by the end of the season.
Yeah. Do you think on that point, Si, do you think that Bradley not being available for a few games might have, ended up with Trent spiking slightly and therefore him getting his injury? Or am I reading too much into it?
Well, at no point did Trent cross into red. So his acute chronic aside, but that thing that I was talking about, he is on for 130% of his career max.
Yeah.
So his total volume is high, and the trajectory of which is higher. At this point of the season, it's the most he's ever had.
Yeah. So the Trent injury, which is a hamstring, which is muscular, is the kind of thing that you would expect typically to happen to players who are being pushed well beyond their historical performance in what they've done. That's the kind of injury that this ends up in, right?
Yeah. So when I've talked in the past before about game day +4, and that is seen scientifically as the day where a footballer has typically recovered from the previous exertion of a match. So it's not the same for everybody. Some is 3, some is 5. But 4 is by far the biggest cohort of fully recovered on a physiological level. So their central nervous system is recovered. The stuff inside their muscle that causes muscle damage has recovered, and they're fresh to go again. fresh is still relative, but 21 days to play 7 games it doesn't allow that. So you're already pushing the boundaries of how a player physiologically plays, right? And Trent started 6 out of those 7 games.
Yeah.
He had no game day plus 4s in that at all. They were smart in that we allowed Grav and Trent to go and not come to the game in the EFL. That was a really smart move, but it was probably still not quite enough for Trent.
Yeah, which is a shame. And by the way, do we have a prognosis? Do we know the grade? Or I know Liverpool have got a new thing of not leaking anything to do with the description of injuries and likely timelines now.
He came off and he wasn't limping, so I think it's a grade 1. But that literally could mean he'd be fine next weekend. It might be 3 weeks.
Yeah, but potentially not. Fingers crossed, not 6 weeks.
Yeah, hopefully not 6 weeks, and hopefully we wait till he's recovered and then give him an extra 3 days, and then he plays.
Yeah, so it's unlikely that he's going to play for England. Yeah,
he was at camp being tested.
Yeah, okay. As long as they don't try and test his resolve. Right, okay. Right. So let's just, before we go into the match itself, let's just give a quick summary from the Docs stats pack. So full match breakdown. Leverkusen won for 52-48 possession. We absolutely smashed them on the shot count, 22-12. On target shots, 8-4. Penalty box shots, 17-5. Big chances, 5-1. The XG, 4.14 for us and 0.8 for Leverkusen. And not only did we have 4.14 XG, we had 4.08 XG on target. So really good. Because remember, not all shots are on target, people. And our BPV to XG conversion rate was 200% in this match, and Leverkusen's was 56. So more good, useful. What's the word? That's the doc always say. Turning our situational threat into actual shots. And the other thing I want to pull out is that we did control the game state nicely again. When the game was tied, we had 9 shots to 1 and 1.6 to 0.2 on the XG front, and it was only in garbage time where we were 3 goals up, where Bayer actually had a few chances and they generated all their XG pretty much when we already had the game won and there were 3-0 up and more. And on the probabilities, the most likely scoreline was 4-0. And then based on the balance of the shots involved, we had a 96% chance of winning this game, 3.5% draw, and 1% was Leverkusen. So poor old Xabi. I think it's what we used to call, Si, a shellacking.
I'd love the context of Bart's historic data on that. How many games has he had this data for when the most obvious result was a 4-0 win?
Oh, there's a good homework question for him. Yeah. If you're listening, Doc, there you go. Get typing.
That is crazy because I'm thinking back to the big convincing wins we've had, 3, 4, 5, 7, whatever. And so many of those games, if you think maybe last season, I think it's the season before actually, like when our shot quality was shocking.
Yeah.
And then
season after that, the finishing was shocking. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we didn't get a shot on target for like the next month. And we scored 7 out of 7.
Yeah.
And it was like we scored 7 goals from 1.8 XG or something ridiculous like that. So how we actually justify what I feel about the difference between Klopp and Slot is that our percentage of converting threat is much higher because the quality of chance is more deliberate.
Yeah. Hamzah, it was we talked about Bayern and Bayer in the first half. I thought we managed to work ourselves some nice half chances, and we even then in that first half, without having massive chances, I think we still had the most dangerous situations. What did you think?
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Open Door. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at opendoor.com or download the Open Door app. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
Add $179 million in total cash prizes.
Mom, what are you doing?
Mix in 3 parts bills, bonus boxes, and multipliers.
Is this some kind of recipe?
Gradually stir in a ton of excitement.
Oh, you're trying to make Ohio Lottery holiday scratch-offs, aren't you? Stop overcomplicating things. Just go buy all your favorites like Holiday Cash, Holiday Lucky Times 10, and Merry Money.
Oh, that is easier.
Uh-huh.
Now help sift non-winning tickets into My Lotto Rewards for a second chance to win.
Play Holiday Scratch-Offs. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and condition regulations. Play responsibly.
With Uber Reserve, good things come to those who plan ahead. Family vacay? Reserve your ride as soon as you book your flights. To all the planners, now you can reserve your Uber ride up to 90 days in advance. See Uber app for details.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Yeah, apart from their one that was the handball
yes,
disallowed goal. I mean, like, theoretically, if he didn't handball it and he just bounced off his shoulder in a similar... It's possible that situation could have played out and led to a shot. So maybe if you consider that situation without the handball, because I think it was an accidental one, you could say that they did have a good chance. But otherwise, yes, I agree. There are a few half chances. There was a shot for Salah on the right. There was a cut back to Curtis that I think went on the floor. And I don't think too
many... had one on the left where he absolutely drilled one, and it went straight at the keeper.
Oh, yes, that's right. Of the early chances, Liverpool had slightly the better ones, and I think Leverkusen was slightly unlucky in that the ball did bounce up on the hand, and it was a handball by European, and it was just handball. But maybe on a different day, the ball just bounces up onto his shoulder, and he gets to play it and get a shot away. But no. To return to your original point, yeah, there weren't any chances in this first half that screamed out, "Oh, that could have been a really good opportunity." But there were breaks and mini transitions that made you think there is something in here, where Liverpool were able to get the ball, carry it through the wide areas, attack the outside centre backs in a way that sort of was encouraging.
Yeah, and I'm coming to you both in a second. I'll come to you in a second, Si. But obviously, we didn't just keep doing the same things, did we, Hamzah? I mean, we said that the game was tight, but we were maybe slightly on top. But I saw a comment from Patrick on Discord, which I really liked about this. Is like this team, we are so fucking good. We decide when we're going to win the game, and it honestly felt like that. You know, we had, like Si's been saying, we have a look. You know, first quarter of the match, half an hour, figure out what they're doing, and then we figure out how we're going to win the game, and then we just go and do it. So what did you see about the tweaks that we made, Hamzah? What did you like about the in-game changes?
Well, first of all, I liked, when Slot explained why he picked Diaz through the middle. I thought that was quite interesting. So
we haven't even talked about Diaz being centre forward. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. So he mentioned that Jonathan Tah is one of the best centre backs in the Bundesliga. That's a fair point. And he says specifically Tah likes playing against a number 9, a central striker who you know where they're going to be, and someone who embraces that physical contest. And with our centre backs in particular, there's a good parallel there, because there are strikers that like physical battles, but when they come up against Van Dijk and Coote, both of whom know exactly what to do against a player like that, it's an easy job for them. They go, great, you want to play into striker, we'll be all over them, and they'll have nothing to work with. So the idea was then, should you play Gakpo there, or should you play Diaz there? And Diaz's movement is slightly different to Gakpo's, a bit more sort of off the cuff, which makes him a bit more unpredictable, harder to play against the centre-back. And so, yeah, that's the first thing. In terms of unpredictability, I thought the way that we used Jones was really interesting as well. So, I mean, like, you take the first goal in particular, and this is what I really like. So, and that's another change as well. So, Jones came in for Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai played the previous match against Brighton. You've got this wonderful bit of movement by Jones. So, Jones moves in around. He swaps, first of all. So, he's on Tah, and Luis Diaz is on Tapsoba being their right centre-back.
Yeah.
And what Jones does is this lovely little motion in behind, and he loops around Tah, the sort of movement that you wouldn't expect from a striker, and you would expect from an attacking midfielder. It's the sort of stuff that Diaz was doing anyway. Moves out of his eye line, drops in front, and at the same time you've got Trent who plays that pass along the floor, another hockey assist. Jones drops in, turns, and he's in space suddenly because he's come from the blind side, because he's come from behind the defenders. So first of all, the defender doesn't realise he's there. The second of all, when he drops into midfield, the midfielders haven't got a clue either because he's come from their blind side. Then he turns and he plays a pass. Having those sort of unpredictable moments, I think, was quite smart, and a way of taking advantage of what they did. In terms of specific tweaks, let me just grab my notes. Sorry. Actually, Si, do you want to jump in here because I'm just loading them up?
So, Si, you were in the stadium, right? So you must have had a nice look of the movements and the tactics in this game.
Yeah, it was really interesting that because we just presumed Gakpo was going to play through the middle, and then Lucho was there. So it was interesting seeing how he was trying to cause threat. And in the first half, he was, I think, enticed into the mano-a-mano macho battle with Jonathan Tah. There was lots of him literally fighting, him shoving, like really trying to use his body and body Tah, who was almost like a gladiator, just laughing at this little fella. And then in the second half, he was dropping much deeper, much earlier in the build phase, and Curtis was going past it. So he had this vertical switch going on, and you got runners going in both directions. What you do? Also, Mac went higher earlier as well. So very often we were getting 4 in a row high up the pitch. So it gave them against their back three a different look. And Grimaldo was having to think twice about whether he's going ahead or he's going to go and help out his defender to pick up Mo against the greatest left back on earth. What's the guy called?
Hincapi.
Yeah. It wasn't. I didn't understand how to say his name. I just can't remember his name. But the world seems to love him, and in the ground, it felt like Mo scored him. Statistically, he seemed to do well in duels, but we created a lot of threat from Mo. I appreciate he's Mo. So
yeah. I think the way I saw it, say, is that I thought we were very clever in that we played very well under Jurgen many times against three at the back. The main time we did well in those, we always used to talk about, was when we got Salah and Mane in behind their wing backs, wide of the centre backs.
Yeah.
And I think what we did was we decided to occupy Hincapi with another player in Hincapi's zone, so Hincapi had to stay, and then Mo could just loiter on behind Grimaldo in lots of space and just absolutely wreak havoc.
That's exactly what happened second half. That he was getting the ball. Mo was getting the ball earlier in the build phase, so that he had space, and then he had 2 or 3 meters between him and that he could run towards Hincapié. So he can make a pass around him. And we'll use him as the playmaker, as we really should. And he brilliantly paid off. What you guys were talking about first half, because they had so much, it's easy for people to talk about their possession, but the control of their possession is something we didn't do very well under Klopp. We didn't control the opposition's possession, and it felt like, particularly for the last 2 years, even while we had success in games and what felt like relatively successful seasons, how many pods we had talking about this, that we, early on in Klopp's tenure, we had a specific type of player and we excelled in basketball. So we ended, tactically, we became that. Whether he set up that way and the players and recruited players to do it, or he had players that could do it, so he set up that way. But what I talk about, and I think he's excelling in it brilliantly this season, that Ibu is a firefighter. He's brilliant at firefighting. And in the last season, that's how we defended.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively we were going to press, and if they got through, we got firemen back there that will sort us out. And he and the team are just not doing that anymore because we're controlling where the opposition get. So in the first half, of their 410 touches in the first half, do you know how many they had in our box?
3?
2.
Yeah.
Like, they had 5.
Can we also give Trent some real kudos here? You talked about Trent's improved defensive strength and his commitment last week, Si, but he was playing against a big lad out there, and he did pretty damn well defensively against Boniface.
Yeah, he did. I think. Do you remember when we used to have Matip would get when there was a centre back rotation?
Yeah,
he would always pick Matip against a big, strong fella.
Yeah,
and he was brilliant in the air, but I thought he was hugely underrated in the media and amongst our fans at how well he dealt with big physical player. He'd just stick him in his pocket. He didn't do the muscular thing that Ibu does. Who Ibu is brilliant at, like he WWE's a guy to the floor regularly. He gets away with it. I don't know how he gets away with it, but he does it all the time. And Matip does it with finesse, but he still used his mass to make it hard for people to get around. But he seemed to surprisingly enjoy the battle. And that's what I'm seeing in Trent now. Trent is using his body in a way he didn't before. And he's almost... he's looking forward to the physical battle. And in the opposite way of how he was seeing a game last season, where it felt like the only thing he was thinking, the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth thing he was thinking was, how do I get on the ball in the centre field? Like, he's doing that, but his first thought is, how do I make this guy feel like he's been in a terrible game today? Like, how does he hate playing against me? And that's an entirely different mindset. And it's visible in the game. And it's the second game I've seen this season from in the ground. And he looks like he's approaching defending very differently. And I really enjoyed it. And he is Boniface is a huge unit.
Yeah,
and he's kind of fast, but he's huge. And Trent didn't get bullied once.
No.
And then you also have Barts, who is a tricky little fucker.
And quick.
He has a lot of quality. And he was looking to pull to the right, pull off Coote, pull deep off Coote to get in the pocket around Grab. Because as brilliant as Grab has been, I still don't think he's in the right position most of the time, defensively within structure. But what he's been doing is what Trent's been doing, and he does a lot in the Villa game, is that his effort to get back to cover whatever space he might not be in is phenomenal. And it's the opposite of what we'd ever seen before. So I think the ceiling for the team this season, as Trent will, at some point, Trent's his intent will move slightly he's comfortable doing this thing now because he's assured himself that he's actually capable. It's not his whole focus to be a good defender. Once he is comfortable, then it becomes a subconscious confidence. It will move a little bit towards his creativity again and watch his numbers fly. I reckon around February, the end of January, February, he'll just be so embedded in this. And I think Grav, as he takes on all of these tactical solutions that he has, these tactical problems that he has to solve, week by week, he's adapting just a little bit here and there. I think his ceiling is so ridiculously high, and it comes from his motivation and intent. And we didn't expect him to have any of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hamzah, one of the things that you noted in one of the earlier group games was against Milan, as we switched from a kind of a 1-2 midfield into more of a 2-1 and change the dynamic of that game. And it was almost the opposite in this one, right? We're going from a more of a 2-1 pivot to very much a 1-2, and that second midfielder plus Diaz plus the right back sometimes was sort of keeping their back three narrower.
Yeah, that's right. So as I mentioned with that first goal, the position that Trent is playing that pass into Jones is from is just so he's tucked in the right half space.
Yeah.
You've got so slightly ahead of him to the left, so in the middle of the pitch you've got Gravenberch and you've got their 4-4-2. So the two players are trying to shield those the passes into Grav. But so Liverpool have now got this back three structure. So it's Trent on the right, Coote in the middle, Van Dijk on the left, and Tsimikas a bit further upfield. And this means that the upside here of having like a 3-2 wouldn't be too great, because what you want to do is create these problems for the Leverkusen midfield further upfield. So that's what you've got, McAllister further upfield, and then Jones dropping into that half space as well. Having those two players positioned. So again, when Jones receives the ball, you also see McAllister trying to break beyond the last line as well, because they're playing because they have so many players deep in the back line. You want to challenge that as much as possible and give them as many decisions to make as quickly as possible to force them into mistakes. So that's where you've got McAllister bombing forward, as well as Diaz holding his position, Gakpo on the final line, Salah on the final line as well. So yeah, it's about overloading that back line, but also maintaining that security in case the ball is turned over by having Trent infield and Tsimikas not too far away.
Yeah. Favourite goal?
I think the first one is probably my favourite. I think just the way that Curtis moves, manipulates Tar, spins, and then plays that pass. It's just all very nice. And then Diaz finishes really nice as well.
Yeah, and the hockey from Trent was top quality as well from that, wasn't it? It was just beautiful 3 phases of that goal.
I don't know how many passes preceded it, but it felt like Liverpool had slowed the game down, and then bang, sprang into action after they worked the space, got a measure of where they wanted to attack, and then when they saw the opportunity, they went for it, sort of full-blooded, full-throated sort of attack. So yeah, I really like that element of being able to slow the game down and then accelerate it in a moment's notice. And players like Jones in particular and Trent have that ability to recognise when to accelerate the game and when to slow it down. That quality is often quite underrated in players. There's a number. The guy that was injured for Villa, Jacob Ramsey, he has that quality as well.
He does
accelerate, and I think Unai Emery trusts him quite a lot. But that's a skill that a lot of top players have. And when you see it in a play, you go, "Oh, they're really smart. They know exactly when the team requires them to turn off their attacking instincts and just work the ball and be patient, and then when is the moment to spring the attack forward and catch your opponent unawares." So yeah, it's a great quality that Jones and Trent have.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, We really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.